Hello, my fellow Britons. So, today was the Budget 24-25, presented by Chancellor Rachel Reeves, focuses on the major tax adjustments and funding of public services. Key initiatives include a rise in employer national insurance contributions to 15% from April 2025 and applying VAT to private schools about damn time to support hiring teachers in state schools. There are also anticipated changes to the capital gains and inheritance taxes, aimed largely at wealthier demographics, as I think only 5% of people actually pay inheritance tax or something. That's some figure, so this is something that very much affects the rich. Capital gains tax, unless, if you sell your own home, you don't pay capital gains tax on your home. I have to go out to work every day to earn a living. So, whereas if you make your money because you're a landlord, yes, you are paying tax on that, through what, but it's not the same as pay as you earn. So, if you've gained capital from something you've done, you should pay a tax on it because, why should, if you have to work, you pay your tax. So, yeah, it's about damn time. So, it's aimed largely at wealthier demographics. Additional revenue will support an investment in transport. God, we need it. Infrastructure. Oh, we really need it. Green economy initiatives. We're going to need it. And with further details on inheritance and council tax changes expected to impact London especially. Okay, and I think that was from the Standard. So let's just take a look at the budget then from a left-wing perspective. Don't get me wrong, it could be more left-wing, I'm sure, but let's just have a look. So, tax adjustments. So the Chancellor has moved to increase taxes on capital gains and inheritance. Measures designed to ensure that the wealthiest individuals, which this country has a lot of, who benefit from the highest assets, they contribute more fairly. This approach realigns the tax structure to address long-standing inequities, which, like say, if you're earning your money through stocks and shares, there's already a load of different loopholes and things. So even the stuff that you do actually earn, the small fraction of what the Inland Revenue are even able to tax some of these people on. They even try and whittle that down to hardly anything. So, you know what I mean? It's just leveling the playing field. So it's raising capital gains and inheritance tax, which is a progressive way to bring more fairness into the economy. Because I think, that there's quite a few things that are unfair with the UK economy. And don't get me wrong, I think they could go a lot further, but step in the right direction. So the education and VAT on private school fees. So we are now, I think in the past, if you were a private school, you were like kind of like a charity, even though you were able to charge huge fees for placements, I guess. You were a charity, whereas state schools had to pay tax the same as anything else. They have to pay much more taxes on that. They have to get certain contractors in, things like that. Whereas private schools are able to do things how they want. If they need a light bulb change, they can just go down Asda, just pick up a light bulb and just change it. State schools, they've got, is it PFI contracts, where they can only get things from like specific sources and get specific companies to do things, so they're charged huge fees for that. So all it's doing is just private schools will now have to pay VAT. I don't think it's even that. I think it's like the people that are buying the education, I think they have to pay VAT now. I don't think it's like, I think that's the way it works. But anyway, so back down time. So yeah, fair enough. So and that will help to recruit 6,500 new teachers, apparently. So let's hope so. But it might be able to pay for 6,500 new teachers, but I don't think there's 6,500 people who want to be teachers. But we'll see. So the public schools, let's be fair, they've been pretty under resourced for. I mean, like everything in this country, they've been pretty under resourced for a long time. I mean, some of them are actually, falling down, and collapsing. So applying VAT to private school fees. So yeah, it is. So it is only the fees. The actual schools themselves aren't. Because all the schools do is just put their prices up to cover their shortfall. If the government are going to start taking 20% of their tuition, what do you call it? What's the word for it? I don't know, but whatever. They will then be able to. They'll just put their prices up, and so it'll be the people that want their kids to go into private education. But hopefully, if, let's say, in a perfect world, state schools were good because they were well funded, not as many people might want to send their kids to private school. Maybe it would only be certain upper stratas of English society where schools are somewhat, mean something to them, maybe. So, part 3, green economy and fuel duty. So, in a push for a greener economy, the Chancellor is reconsidering fuel duty, including the possibility of removing the 5p cut. I think that's been around for year, like decade, hasn't it? This measure promotes sustainability by encouraging reduced fuel consumption and supports green infrastructure investments. I agree. The only way that you're really going to get people to cut back on fuel and for other more niche technologies and things, and to take hold, is for the current system to be made more expensive, and then society will adjust and we will go over to something new, something better. Just a side note on the whole climate change thing. I don't care what your opinion, whether you care about the planet or care about the polar bears or whatever. That's up to you. But to me, one basic fact of our civilization is that the fuel of it is a finite resource. So whether you don't care whether the world burns, you're gonna run out of that stuff eventually. So wouldn't it be better to maybe, if you want this the show to go on, we're gonna have to find something else to power our lights off, because the oil is something that was oil and coal was all created a very long time ago through a very, very long, unlikely chain of things that needed to come into being to create oil and coal. They say that life is the rarest thing in the universe, and from what we can see, it's pretty quiet out there. Could be, true. Life is very, very rare. Well, that to me means that coal and fossil fuel. I mean, maybe it could. I'm not saying, I don't know, but maybe it could somehow be created on a planet without life or without life. But if life is rare, then fossil fuels are even rare. Because even if you have life, the reason that we've got the fossil fuels that we have is that we've got plate tectonics. So the stuff was able to go right all the way down, be baked for a few 100 million years, and then pop back up as something else, changed. Whereas if you're on a planet like, say, Venus, where it's got no plate tectonics. They think it does resurface itself every now and again because the heat just builds up, and but all that coal and oil is going to be burnt in it if there was any there. So yeah, so regardless of what you think about climate change or whatever, or whether you care about the animals or care about, this miracle that is our planet, whatever, but oil and coal are going to run out eventually, so you might as well get something else. So for a start, you're paying an extra 5p for it, all right? So if you want to go riding around in your 1-ton DEF machine, then it's going to cost you an extra 5p a litre, all right? So I don't think it's that much, is it? 5p, that can buy you like a share of a Freddo, do you know what I mean? So yeah, so that's the basics of it. They keep saying that Labour said they were going to look at fact they weren't going to tax workers or whatever. They aren't taxing workers, I don't think, are they? By the looks of things, this national insurance thing that they're all banging on about, it only affects like really big companies, and the way they make it sound, the way that people go on about it, they're like, oh, the government, they're taxing the companies, they'll just lay off the staff, and it's like, well, really, isn't that's the company? They're able to pay out millions to shareholders and all that, and pay for their political influence and all that kind of thing, but ask them to pay a bit more tax so that we've got like, a semblance of a society left. Oh well, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd got rid of everyone. I wouldn't blame them either. I wouldn't blame them. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's most. Oh, it's so frustrating. I mean, this country doesn't even own anything anymore. Like they say about, we're paying this in tax, we're paying that in tax. Well, in other countries, at least when you're paying tax, it pays for your like water system or your power grid or your airports. Whereas in this country, we've sold all that. All the companies have got that. They're the ones making money off that. Anyway, rant over. But the budget ain't great, but it ain't terrible either from a left-wing perspective. If you're really rich, then sorry, maybe you might have to pay a little bit more tax, but don't worry, I'm sure you've got some little scheme with your accountant, some little scheme about, they've probably seen this all coming. You've probably hedged your bets, literally. You're probably all sorted. I mean, one thing that's put my faith in this budget, I'm not being funny, is how angry Rishi Sunak seemed about it. He was pretty animated today, wasn't he? Pretty animated. So if he's that upset, I think the budget's probably good. Probably a good thing. Agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for listening.